So this speech was given by Tulsi Gabbard in Bahrain. Now, Bahrain is an absolute monarchy that's propped up by Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is Sunni, Muslim, Wahhabi, and the majority of the people in Bahrain are Shia Muslims. And they've gone out many times to protest against the Wahhabi monarchy backed by Saudi Arabia that's imposed on them. And it's where the USA has a lot of its military bases are stationed in Bahrain, the Kingdom of Bahrain, which is, a very, very small place that is close to Saudi Arabia, that Saudi Arabia basically imposes a king onto. But Tulsi Gabbard was invited there at kind of a think tank gathering, and she gave these remarks about the changes in U.S. foreign policy that she would like to see. And I think they're very, very important. So here we go.
Thank you, distinguished guests, excellencies, friends, and fellow peacemakers. It's a privilege to join all of you here this evening. Your Highness, thank you very much for your kind hospitality and welcoming us and hosting this important event. To I and SS and your team, thank you for yet again putting on a phenomenal dialogue. It's an honor to be able to address you here in the Kingdom of Bahrain at this pivotal time in global history. As we gather here, we're reminded that true security, true stability, and peace cannot be forged in isolation, but in the common collection of peacemakers working towards that common purpose. Today, I want to speak plainly for myself as a veteran and a soldier who has seen firsthand the high cost of war. As someone who serves under President Trump's leadership, I have experienced the promise of peace. His vision is about delivering real wins, not just for America, but for our collective cause of peace and prosperity, and doing so through a very principled realism rooted in shared goals, interests, and values. The old Washington way of thinking is something we hope is in the rearview mirror and something that has held us back for too long. For decades, our foreign policy has been trapped in a counterproductive and endless cycle of regime change or nation building. It was a one-size-fits-all approach of toppling regimes, trying to impose our system of governance on others, intervene in conflicts that were barely understood, and walk away with more enemies than allies. The results: trillions spent, countless lives lost, and in many cases, a creation of greater security threats, the rise of Islamist terrorist groups like ISIS. President Trump was elected by the American people to put an end to this. And from day one, he has showed a very different way to conduct foreign policy, one that is pragmatic, that is deal-driven, with a very realistic approach focused on protecting American security and prosperity while engaging with the world on terms that actually make sense.
Now, to be fair, I know a lot of people watching this are tempted to say, well, Caleb, he bombed Iran. Caleb, he's threatening Venezuela right now. Caleb, he's given Israel everything they want. This is a bunch of malarkey. Well, it's not a bunch of malarkey. I mean, as much as all of that is true, right? And I'm very disappointed by a lot of things about Trump. They also accused him of being an agent of Russia. They also sponsored the No Kings rallies to drive him out. They also tried to put him in jail to prevent him, being elected again. They also, it looks like, a Ukrainiac, a fanatical Ukraine supporter who wanted the war in Ukraine to keep going, tried to kill him to keep him from taking office. And that as much as Donald Trump, has disappointed a lot of us, they see something in Trump that they are afraid of. And they see that, and that's what they would like to stop. And now the people from his previous administration, who seem to be pushing him to be the most warlike, have all turned against him. For example, Marco Rubio is in the administration, but Mike Pompeo was one of the people who pushed him to murder Qasem Soleimani. He's out, and he's an enemy of Trump now. Who else? John Bolton is now being prosecuted by Trump, and it appears he was selling government secrets to NATO countries, was laundering classified information. So there's something going on here. I believe Tulsi Gabbard represents the best wing of the Trump administration. I think Marco Rubio represents the worst wing. There's a push and pull behind the scenes. The fact that Tulsi Gabbard, she said there, I'm speaking for myself, which means that there are probably people within the Trump administration who don't agree with her, right? That was a hint there, where she said, I'm speaking for myself. But yeah, I mean, she's going to give Trump a lot of credit here, but it's credit for doing good things, not credit for doing bad things. So here we go.
During his first term, the president brokered the Abraham Accords, this historic pact between Israel, the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan that came from staying laser-like focused on shared interests.
Now, the Abraham Accords, I'm not a big fan of because it is, Arab states conferring legitimacy and recognition onto Israel. But she's about to try and promote the Abraham Accords in an interesting way. Generally, the way the Abraham Accords are promoted is like, oh, look, all these Muslims are recognizing Israel. That's great. But actually, she's going to point out to something related to the Abraham Accords that is quite interesting.
Prosperity, counterterrorism, technological innovation. These countries that had eyed each other perhaps warily at times for decades found common ground in trade routes, joint ventures, and a mutual stake in both regional and global stability.
Now, she's there saying that basically the way that we're going to end instability in the Middle East is with economic development. And that was a proposal that was widely circulated. The Soviet Union wanted that. They wanted to green the desert in the Middle East. They wanted to basically connect the government of Israel and the Palestinians and the Arab countries by creating an agricultural hub. And they wanted to green the deserts, and that's what they wanted to do. And Gaddafi did that in Libya with the Great Man-Made River, the world's largest irrigation system. And that was kind of the Soviet vision for resolving the conflict in the Middle East, was economic development. As if we could get, a corridor of economic development in the Middle East, and get all these countries to not just have oil, but to have, more and more of a stable economy. We could connect these countries with trade. Then there wouldn't be conflict. The British plan for the Middle East has been endless conflict, right? And you read Israel, the Oded Yanan plan, to get Sunnis and Shias killing each other, to play the different peoples of the region against each other. The whole map of the Middle East was drawn up by the British Empire. Look up the Sykes-Picot Agreement. It was a secret treaty signed during World War I that basically, after World War I, the British Empire divided up the Middle East. And the reason there's Saudi Arabia and Oman and Yemen and Qatar, all of that, it was the British that drew that up. There used to be one Arab people. They were conquered by the Ottoman Empire, but there was one Arab nation, and the British divided it up and created all kinds of sultanates and kingdoms and emirates, and the British Mandate of Palestine, the Balfour Declaration. The idea was to keep the people divided. And the Soviet Union, their vision, which a lot of the Ba'athist Arab socialist countries, and Syria and Iraq, and a lot of the Baathists and Arab socialists, their idea was, with great irrigation projects, they could bring water and agriculture to the desert, and they could connect the countries economically. And as a result, they wouldn't be fighting with each other. And that was the road to peace. And that the election of Menachem Begin, the far-right administration of Israel, right, the Likud party, their election in 1978 was a very negative turning point. That they were a hawkish, viciously anti-Arab, viciously anti-Soviet, anti-communist administration. And the Likud party pivoted Israel away from a vision of shared economic development. And as much as my initial reaction to the Abraham Accords is that they grant legitimacy to Israel, it seems like Tulsi Gabbard is presenting the Abraham Accords as part of building up for a vision of an economically prosperous Middle East. So I mean, she's making a case for the Abraham Accords that's coming from a good place. I'm not going to endorse the Abraham Accords because I don't want to confer legitimacy upon the forces that are committing crimes against the Palestinians, but she's arguing for them in a way that's based on economic win-win cooperation, kind of almost invoking the spirit of China's Belt and Road. And I think that's very important.
We've heard President Trump and Vice President Vance speak just last week about their hope that the Abraham Accords will continue to grow and expand to allow for a true lasting regional stability and peace. This is what President Trump's America First policy looks like in action, building peace through diplomacy with an understanding that there cannot be prosperity without peace.
Right? There cannot be prosperity without peace, and the road to peace is economic development and prosperity. Very interesting.
President Trump de-escalated tensions on the Korean Peninsula through direct talks during his first term in office. He opened lines of communication with North Korea that had been frozen for generations. He did what no other president had been willing to do, engage directly to speak about peace.
Yes, and that was amazing. The only president in U.S. history to have visited North Korea, right, as a sitting president. Utterly amazing. And from the beginning, North Korea was saying Trump was the better of options. And I know this, right? I was out on my way out of the Workers' World Party when Trump was first running for president, but they got the memo basically from North Korea. Trump is willing to negotiate with us. And North Korea, they very much, they said, look, we think Trump is willing to negotiate with us. We like Trump. And they said that in the last election as well, right? That when it comes to the hope for peace on the Korean Peninsula, Donald Trump is the guy who offers us the ability to possibly see it. And I mean, North Korea was very adamant, very clear. Trump is somebody who can possibly negotiate with us. They made that clear. And if you're actually listening to North Korea, that was their position.
He restored American leadership abroad. He brokered economic normalization between Serbia and Kosovo, promoting stability and peace in the Balkans regions. And now, just 9 months into his second term, President Trump's America First agenda is supercharging these efforts and securing peace on a scale that we haven't seen in decades. He secured ceasefires between India and Pakistan, Israel and Iran, a peace agreement between Rwanda and the DRC, a peace deal between Armenia and Azerbaijan, Cambodia and Thailand, and averted conflict between Egypt and Ethiopia over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. As was mentioned previously and is very much in focus for so many of us, he negotiated the release of all living hostages from Hamas. While fragile, an historic ceasefire and peace plan is moving forward, it is doing so with integral support from many of our partners here in this room. So what ties all of this together? A simple and revolutionary idea. Pursue joint interests, find those win-win solutions where they align, and recognize that, yes, we will have differences and we will work through them. President Trump understands that not everyone shares our exact values or our system of governance, and that's okay. What's most important is finding where our shared common ground exists and building those partnerships and progressing on those common grounds.
I mean, this should be common sense, but it's not. And nobody in the Democrat Party is talking this way. And a good chunk of the Republican Party is not talking this way. A big chunk of the Trump administration is not talking this way. Tulsi Gabbard is talking this way. This is really, really important. She's talking the language of win-win cooperation, peace through development. This is really, really important.
Things like energy independence that stabilizes global markets. Things like countering terrorism, something that continues to grow in different parts of the world. Strengthening trade partnerships to boost economic growth and innovation. These are the components, the glue of enduring partnerships and friendships. So America First is not about isolating ourselves. As President Trump has shown, it's about engaging in direct diplomacy. being willing to have conversations that others are not willing to have, and finding that path forward where our mutual sovereign interests are aligned. And that's really why we're all gathered here today in Manama. We can commit to this path ourselves and put it into action. With Bahrain's own leadership, year after year, hosting these critical dialogues shows us the way forward, convening nations from around the globe, amplifying shared stakes, and strengthening partnerships and lines of communications that allow us to resolve our differences and deliver results for our respective people. Under President Trump, the United States is your partner in executing this vision as a deal maker who is committed to peace. And together, we look forward to continuing this path towards peace, to ending wars that have defined too many generations, unlock prosperity for millions, and help support the future of a Middle East where security is a dividend of cooperation, not a cost of conflict. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless the pursuit of peace.
Look, that is the best thing about the Trump administration. And the Trump administration has been awful, but it appears that there is a faction within the Trump administration, led by Tulsi Gabbard, that at least has some notion of a post unipolarity world, some notion of win-win cooperation, some notion that the people who lied about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and the people who lied about Russiagate, they need to be held accountable. We need to do everything we can to support Tulsi Gabbard and to support this wing of the Trump administration. And, you know, it might be difficult at times. And that doesn't mean we have to support all the bad things Trump has done as president. But within Trump's administration, there is a good faction. And we have to support it as much as we possibly can, right? It's really the only hope we've got. Look, Bernie Sanders said absolutely nothing about Venezuela until like just recently. But Rand Paul and Thomas Massie, they were out there. Bernie Sanders, when Israel was bombing Iran, he said that was okay. When the USA bombed Iran, he finally said, ooh, maybe they shouldn't, but Israel has the right to. It was completely ridiculous. Bernie Sanders and AOC are not pro-peace. Mamdani, who's going to be the next mayor of New York City, is denouncing Venezuela and building a movement of woke liberal haters that want to, you know, have war with Venezuela because they don't have transgender bathrooms or whatever. You know, I'm just telling you, the only section of the government that is at all anti-war and pro-negotiations is the Tulsi Gabbard faction. Right now, the FBI is furious because Tulsi Gabbard is trying to take control of their counterintelligence operations, which I think is a great thing. I don't know if you saw the headline. Here, I'll put the headline on. You know, this was on MSNBC. MSNBC, you know, they got the leak. Oh, they're totally against Tulsi Gabbard, right? This is the headline. FBI slams House proposal to grant Tulsi Gabbard leading role on counterintelligence. She's trying to take control of the counterintelligence wing of the FBI. The FBI doesn't want that because they know that she's not on board with their war agenda. Folks, do you know what the name of the program that the FBI used to go after the Black Panthers was called? It was called the COINTELPRO program, their counterintelligence program. And Tulsi Gabbard is here as somebody who is committed to peace, as somebody who revealed that Russiagate was a hoax, that Russia didn't meddle in our elections. She's trying to take control of the counterintelligence operations of the FBI. This is a really, really hopeful thing. And again, is she perfect? No. And is the Trump administration all where we're at? No. But there is like one sliver, one layer of people within the Trump administration that seem to have common sense when it comes to war and peace. We've got to boost and support them as much as we can. And that's what CPI has always been about. And there are some people that just want to play this red team versus blue team game, and they're missing the point. Look, this is what we did. You'll see in this video, you'll see Michael Pelagatti, who we're going to honor at our event in January. You're going to see Phil, our good friend from Brooklyn, CPI member Phil. You're going to see, people from Manhattan Family Church. When Trump came to Madison Square Garden, we set out. This was like the last couple days of the election. last year, we set out to boost the peace message. And we were out in front of Madison Square Garden with this banner of Trump and Kim shaking hands. This was our intervention at Madison Square Garden. So we're here on 34th Street, and the crowds have lined up. They're going in to see Trump speak. We've got our banner. We're handing out our palm cards, spreading the message.
Like a concert, but bigger. I see the lines of people going block after block after block after block, and it makes you wonder, is the media, the mainstream media, really telling you the truth about how unpopular Donald Trump actually is?
This administration is evil, and we need to bring America back and make America godly again. Make America great again.
Hey, only peace can make America great again. Only peace can make America great again. This was a great moment when Trump talked to Kim Jong-un and started the process of peace on the Korean Peninsula. And we want to see peace not just with North Korea, but with Russia, with China, with many countries around the world. It is outrageous that billions of dollars is being spent on prolonging the war in Ukraine when our people can't get relief in North Carolina. People are left behind in Georgia and North Carolina. They can't get the relief they need. This is outrageous. Our government is more concerned with waging wars around the world than for caring for our own people. That we need a president who will put America first, a president who will bring peace around the world. Only peace can make America great again. Yeah, you think Trump could be a peace president?
I think he can, as long as he surrounds himself with people who have peace in mind. My concern, I'm a voter, I'm concerned about everything. He's surrounding himself with a lot of people from big tech, and big tech has pretty much been now part of the military-industrial complex, so that's slightly concerning, but I think if Trump surrounds himself with good people, I think so.
I appreciate Trump and all his efforts.
You like the banner, huh?
I do.
Yeah, are you worried about war, the danger of war?
I am, and I know I'm confident that Trump can put an end to it.
They're marching us toward World War III, and they're taking our freedoms away. While they do it, we have got to stand up. Kamala Harris represents the most vile factions of the deep state, the regime change apparatus. Yeah, what do you think about how Kamala Harris, I mean, it seems like she's locking up her political opponents, trying to put people in jail, trying to put Trump in jail so she can win the election?
They'll do anything to stay in power.
You're a Kennedy fan, I can see, huh?
I am, yes.
Yeah, he's bold, sticking up about the vaccines and all of that. Telling
He
the truth.
is, but I think it's important. When you have a lot of mainstream publications who refuse to report on a lot of the stories that people have, I think it only adds more validity to what Kennedy's been saying about big pharma, big ag.
This is a man of peace. This is a man that can do it. He is a man that can make things happen. Everybody say war, war, war. This man is for peace, he's for unity, he's for the black, he's for the white, he's for everybody. This is a man alive. Don't worry about what the fake media say. 100% the right man for the job.
We want peace between all different races and nationalities in the world. This is how they are. I'm here advocating peace and he's calling me a Nazi. Didn't the Nazis start a big war? Didn't the Nazis take people's freedom away? This is how they are. This is exactly how they are. You're a Nazi if you want peace. This is how sick they are. You're standing here saying you want peace, and he's calling us Nazis for wanting peace. I'm standing here for peace, and they call you a Nazi. This is how sick the woke left is. It's Nazism to want peace. I'm a patriot. I love my country, and loving your country means you don't want a war. I am a patriot. I love America, and I don't want World War III. Only peace can make America great again. Trump wants to negotiate. He wants to trade with countries around the world rather than bombing them. He wants to end these insane sanctions that are weakening the dollar around the world. And he wants to open up trade and friendship. Peace starts with trade and doing business.
Obama couldn't do it. Bush couldn't do it. He did it. For that reason, I'm giving my vote for him. I'm from New York City here. I'm voting for him.
About yourself, you and I go back to Occupy Wall Street.
Yeah, we go back to Occupy Wall Street. I started off with the Jersey City Peace Movement. We're all about saying no to wars. And that's why I've come out to stand here with this sign, because World War III is a bad thing to get ourselves involved with. And seeing who Kamala Harris these days is surrounding herself with, the likes of Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney and these neocon warmongers that just won't leave us alone.
What do you think? What do you think?
Excellent. Excellent.
That was a great moment when he met with Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, he has the respect of people around the world, unlike Kamala.
Absolutely.
No one has any respect for him.
I say America first, not Ukraine first. I say America first, not Israel first. Only peace can make America great again. Only peace can make America great again. This is the... No problem. How are people liking it? Good? He's a deal maker, and this should just be the beginning. I can't wait until Donald Trump shakes hands with Putin. I can't wait until Donald Trump shakes hands with Xi Jinping. I can't wait until Donald Trump shakes hands with the Iranians and with the Cubans all around the world. Only peace can make America great again. And it's time that we do business. There's a whole new economy in the world. If you look at the BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, all these countries are rising up from poverty and building new railways and all that. We should trade with them. We should get some of that money for America. America shouldn't be trying to lock the world out. Our dollar is losing value because of this silly policy.
Yeah.